First day of contact, full gear today. Got some real good evaluation, some guys that we wanted to see in live situations. From our perspective, what I like about our group is the way they compete and practice. They're really focused. So when you go into that room, it's all football. It's not. There's no drama. There's no guys that are half in, half out. It's a real focused group. I was saying earlier, I know y'all want me to talk about each individual, but this is really, for me, about finding the identity of this team as a group. And so my focus and my attention has been, crafting and making sure that we're, coming together in the manner that I want. And after the third practice, it's pretty apparent that this is going to be a very locked-in, focused, disciplined group of guys. They pay attention to detail. They follow up very well. We don't have a lot of, sloppy ball on the ground, guys falling around. So where we are after the third day is less about maybe who's the second running back, who's the third guard. This is really about setting a tone as to the way we're going to play the game, and it's starting to come together. I like what I see from the entire group and our focus. So I'll do the best I can on individual questions, but my focus has been, quite frankly, on putting this whole group together and really getting their identity to start show itself.
Ryan, on that identity topic, some of the guys were talking yesterday that kind of your off-season message was, you had an identity last year. Basically, you throw that out.
Yes.
You don't build on that. You start over entirely. I guess from a big picture perspective, why is that? Why can't you just build on what you had last year? Why do you have to start over?
Well, I think we're definitely building on the habits. We're definitely building on all the things that it takes to be successful. What we're talking about is a different collection of players, and where we are this year relative to who those playmakers are going to be, both sides of the ball. That's the identity that we're talking about. So we're not losing all of the things that we've built over the last 3 years. That's in place. I think I said that on my opening press conference. That's in place. That's the foundation. This is more about the 2013 team, more so than it is the program. That's the difference between the two.
Have you had teams that kind of fall into a trap, sort of, about just assuming that what happened last year is going to happen again, and we can just pick up where we left off?
Not that I can recall that would,
I mean, is that a trap for guys sometimes?
Well, I think it can be. I think if you just say, hey, we're going to roll out the ball and this is who we are, I think you have a chance that could happen. But having done it for as long as I have, we wouldn't let that happen. Now, this is still about how we play the game on Saturdays, because all those other things are in place for this team to continue to progress.
There's a couple small picture questions on Sheldon Day. We look at heights and weights, and his weight's the same as last year, but his physique looks a lot different. Just the off season that he had, how important it was that, and just how much more of a ready player do you feel like you have?
Well, he's got a unique first step quickness and ability to get off blocks. So whether he's 6'1" or 6'3" or 6'2", his skill set overcomes any lack of length at that position. So really, we knew that going in. This was to get him stronger physically in the off season. So he's just maturing. His body's starting to take form and mature, but there's nobody that we have defensively that gets off blocks like Sheldon Day. And again, the only way I've found to get a guy off a block is just to yell at him louder. In other words, it's an innate trait that you have, and he just has that.
And just your punting situation, where do you feel like you are with that? I don't know if you have candidates or you have a guy picked out or.
Well, you know, Brinzer's gonna be part of it. We've got somebody coming in, that I think can compete at that position. Where my focus has been, for our punt is, I'm focused a lot more on, that being a unit that makes plays. Hasn't made many plays. We haven't made big plays in coverage, and we haven't made big plays in punt block. So I've got to spend more time on that. The kicking situation is going to be what it is. We're going to have a couple of guys that are going to have to do the job, but our focus these last 3 days have been on punt block and you know, punt coverage.
Brian, with Everett having a little bit more command of offense now, do you want to play more in tempo, or is that kind of in your past as far as a play caller?
No, that's not
Okay.
in my past. That would be in my future.
Okay.
We definitely would love to have the ability to dictate tempo. It takes so many things out of play. I mean, look at the Alabama situation. You know, if you're playing fast there, you're eliminating a lot of pressures because the ball's coming out so quick. You're moving quickly. So we're deficient in areas offensively last year. And one of them was our inability to play fast. So that is definitely a part of where we want to go.
And do you feel like you're going to get there this spring?
Oh yeah, we will be there, without a doubt.
To kind of follow up on that, you had a major priority last year to really diminish the turnovers, which were so crucial in 2011. And Everett only throws 6 interceptions as a sophomore. Even if you look at the history, there's 17-18 by a sophomore quarterback here. Is there a trade-off here where maybe you might have to take more chances to expand the offense, but maybe the higher risk creates higher reward? How do you balance all that?
No, I think, you know, the more aggressive that you are, if you're fundamentally doing the things that we're teaching, it doesn't put you at a higher risk of throwing an interception. I think playing faster even decreases that, because you're going to have guys that are going to be running wide open that are not even defended. So I don't think that accelerating the offense puts us at a higher risk of interception. I would say that if we're really doing it the right way, we're going to get some easier throws along the way than slowing it down, letting the defense set, being a little bit predictable in some of the things you're doing. We want to be much more unpredictable offensively. I think that's going to help us.
And with this being first day of contact, are guys like Carlisle, Alex Welsh, are they cleared for?
Yes, they were all involved in contact today. Carlisle, Welch in particular. Those guys were all part of what was going on.
Collinsworth, not yet?
Yes, he's cleared. Yeah, he was part of contact today.
And the center position, you mentioned how crucial that is just for the overall big picture of the offensive line. I mean, you weren't to weights the other day, but Nick Martin at 284 that's what he was listed at anyway. I mean, are you comfortable with him that would seem a little bit light, especially when you go.
Yeah, I think he'll probably play at 290. Yeah, that's fine at the center position. Yeah, I mean, if he's, look, I mean, at that position, if you have a 355-pound nose guard like Lewis Nix on you, it doesn't matter if you're Braxton Cave and you're 315 to 320. You know what I mean? He's a tough guy to defend, and you got to get some help. But no, we're very comfortable playing him between, you know, that 285 and 290 range for all 3 of the centers. Very comfortable with that.
And how has he adapted to that?
Pretty good. Yeah, he's made good progress. Him, Hagerty, and Harrell are all taking snaps at center. All of them are snapping the ball. We're looking for some consistency at that position, snapping the ball. But all 3 of them made pretty good progress in the last 3 days.
Psychologically with Hagerty coming back from what he
Haven't seen anything. You know, he was in a 3-on-3 drill today and getting off the ball, playing. You know, there's no hesitation at all in his mind, and everybody that has seen him medically.
Is that position for an up-tempo offense, does it help? Obviously, Goldsby in his second year helps for that as well. Can he aid kind of the new center?
Oh, certainly, and you don't have to put everything on the center. It can be on a guard. It can be you know, we could take a little bit of that off of him. we can have more of the cadence on the quarterback, you know, where the quarterback's driving the cadence. So there's a lot of ways to take some of the pressure off a younger center, and I think we'll look to do all those things.
This is back kind of big picture. We talked to Zach Martin yesterday and kind of mentioned he still remembers entering spring at 8-5, and his first year 6-6. Is that kind of just a valuable thing to have? I know you want Zach Martin back as your starting fifth year tackle anyway, but having a host of fifth year guys coming back every year that kind of carry on the early scars of the program when you were just started out.
Well, if the question is, do I like having fifth-year players with a lot of experience, unequivocally, yes.
I know Zach, you would. I know there's other guys that aren't quite as, Zach Martin's a no-brainer. You're going to want a guy like that all the time. But Tyler Stockton mentioned as a leader. Is that kind of part of what he brings?
Yeah, I mean, when you're with us for this will be the fourth year, it's hard for me, unless there's reasons where you've got your degree and you don't see yourself, you know, really being part of the success on the field. I'd want every fifth-year guy back because they know what I want from them. They can help in so many other areas, even if they're not playing a significant role. So my feeling is if I could get every one of those fifth years back every single year, they have something to add to the overall team. And that was the case again this year. For those that didn't come back or chose not to, it was you know, more of a, I've got my degree, I don't see myself in a significant role, I'm moving on.
Just a quick wrap up on it. The defensive line so deep. Two guys I had a question about. Hounshell kind of coming back, and then Jaron Jones, who we haven't seen.
Really impressed with Chase's work ethic. He's gotten himself up into the 280 range. He did 225 22 times, so he's really come back from, you know, two shoulder surgeries. And but you know, he's worked really hard. He looks good. He's in great shape. You know, he'll just continue to develop and get more reps. He hasn't, you know, played a lot of football, quite frankly. So that's why the spring's really important for him. And then the other question.
Jaron Jones.
Yeah, just a young kid, you know, he's big, physical looking, he looks the part, you know, and he's gonna be a good player for us, it's just a matter of time.
Brian, with your tight ends, especially Troy Nicholas, with Tyler gone, do you want him to be that kind of tight end, and how is?
No, he will not be played the way we played Tyler Eifert. You know, he'll be more of an inline guy that can, you know, we feel like he's got a lot of skills. You know, he can run, he's athletic, he's long, but we won't utilize him in the manner that we use Tyler Eifert. But we think that he's got a unique skill set that, you know, he's going to be we think, one of the best front line, you know, tight ends blocking, and then obviously with his size and speed that he can be. I mean, this is probably a bad example, but to give you a general feeling, you know, he's Gronkowski, Eifert was Hernandez with the Patriots. You know, Hernandez, they move all over the place. That's kind of a rude, you know, kind of overview of how we see those two.
Brad, has Joey Brooks been with you?
Yeah, he has.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did he hold up for his first day?
Not bad, not bad. He's what I like about Joey is that no hesitation. He's going in there. He's getting knocked around a little bit, but he's game. You know, I'll give the kid credit. He's game. He's. I didn't know whether he was going to be tough enough but he's shown some good toughness, and he's a pretty athletic kid. So we're going to let him keep progressing. We'll see what happens.
Coach Alford about the slot receiver position.
Yeah.
He said, you know, I don't know what this position is going to be this year. It might be different than what it was last year and different than the year before. Where do you see that position going, and has it been what you thought?
It's a
it was
hybrid.
going to be?
It's a hybrid position.
Yeah.
It's a running back / receiver who you want to get the ball to him and get him touches in those intermediate areas, you know, drive routes, you know, slot routes, wheel routes, hand it off to him. And so it gives you a lot of flexibility because, you know, you can play two running backs, you know, in that sense. Or you can play strictly a Robbie Toma. But, you know, Robbie reminded me today that he did score a touchdown. So, but that's kind of the position. It's a hybrid, so it allows you a lot more flexibility in your offense.
Have we seen everything you think that position can be so far? Is it still?
No, it's still
Kind of
evolving.
finding the guy.
No, it's evolving. It's definitely evolving. Because, you know, if you look at it, you had two really different players in Theo Riddick and Robbie Toma. So we're looking for that one to be much more similar to a Theo Riddick across the board.
Carlisle sounded excited yesterday about
Yeah.
the opportunity for some contact. How did you look out there?
He did well. He's going to be an exciting player. He's what we thought he was. You know, he got injured. You didn't really see anything. He was limited by the ankle and then the nerve that would not stop firing up on him. But, you know, we had a lot of the veterans out there today. Manti was out there, Robbie was out there, Rudolph, and everybody noticed number 3. So he's going to be a guy that definitely impacts the program.
Any hesitation at all from Welch? You know,
No, I think he's been good. Physically, he's in there, taking a lot of reps. He was in our live 3-on-3 drill. No, there's rust, you know, in terms of alignments and some assignment stuff, but, you know, he's a tough Catholic League kid from Cincinnati, so he'll stick his nose in there. Thank you.
Thank you.